Hagerty is the world's largest provider of specialty insurance for enthusiast vehicles and supports keeping car culture alive through youth programs, the Historic Vehicle Association, the RPM Foundation, and more. Hagerty is home to key programs such as the Hagerty Drivers Club, Hagerty Drive Share, Hagerty Valuation Tools, the Hagerty Drivers Club magazine, and much, much more. For more information, visit their website at hagerty.com. PCA Sim Racing is proud to have Hagerty Motorsports as its 2021 title sponsor.
Seven events, 28 races, and almost 200 drivers. That all brings us to tonight. It's championship week in the PCA, and the first two classes will be decided this evening. With multiple drivers eligible for the crown in both challenge and sport, our competitors will have to be on their toes. Let's see who steps away as the champion as we get ready to watch Event 8 of Series 7 of PCA Sim Racing, presented by Hagerty Motorsports. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth tonight is DJ Clark and Rachel Whiteford. Taylor Burris is reporting from pit lane, and we have Cameron Aubrin on social media, along with Ryan Bauer producing, who is using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. As always, the PCA Sim Racing Series is brought to you by Hagerty. Since 1984, Hagerty has been the worldwide leader in collector car insurance. Everything they do is geared towards enabling and enhancing the experience of automotive enthusiasts and making sure that the vehicles we all love and the lifestyles that revolve around them don't just survive, but thrive well into the future. Services include the Hagerty Drivers Club, Drive Share by Hagerty, the shop, and much, much more to fuel car culture. Hagerty, let's drive together. Let's also take a little bit of a drive around this track here quickly. We are down at Interlagos, and we have our handy track guide presented by GSRC to introduce you. Welcome to Autodromos Jose Carlos Pache. Most fans and drivers simply know this place as Interlagos. Starting life as an absolute behemoth of a circuit, this Brazilian track was eventually truncated to the version you see today. Having hosted Formula One for roughly 3 decades, it's become very well known on the international stage. But it has also held rounds in the World Endurance Championship, as well as frequently seen Brazilian stock cars, motorcycles, and even truck racing. There's little difference between its two layouts, which includes the GP course and the Moto course, which simply adds a chicane to the end of the lap. In both cases, it's a tale of two circuits. The run past the start-finish line and into the Senna S, followed by the blast towards the Descida do Lago, are very high-speed sections that come back-to-back. Drivers will need to focus on top end in order to attack or defend. Expect most passes to happen in those two corners. But from Ferradura until Juchau, the track suddenly twists itself into a mess of hairpins and frustratingly technical turns. This can make car setup a real compromise, and for the latter part of the lap, an absolute pain when dealing with traffic. Pit exit is also a narrow affair, so it requires drivers to take care when trying to maximize their outlaps. On the upside, with this being a modern F1 track, there's paved runoff in abundance at many of the fast corners. The passion of the Brazilian fans always comes out in force at races, and it's no wonder with this picturesque track sandwiched right amongst the neighborhoods of Sao Paulo. There you see a little bit about the track, but it's also time to bring you our sponsor, which is, of course, Z1 Dashboard. Z1 Dashboard gets better and more feature-rich, and version 2021.3 is no exception. The Z1 Designer lets you create your own custom displays for use with the Z1 Dashboard. So in addition to the almost 200 standard items, you can add your own custom designs and place the data you want exactly where you want it. Remember, the Z1 dashboard also takes care of the engineering and strategy for you and helps make sure you are maximizing your on-track performance. To find out more, visit z1dashboard.com. So as we take a look at our grid here, 33 cars out here for the finale and event number 8. It's the end of the season, and Trip Starkey is once again on the pole, but he'll have Drew Kenny to deal with behind him. Those two have been quick all season long. And as they come out of junction here, DJ, this is going to be fascinating to watch with that long straight up to the Senna S. Do you think the draft will be enough for them to have an effect?
Well, Joe, as we've seen many, many a time, it is going to be everything. Not only there on the main straight, but also going down into the Descida del Lago. It's going to be a draft train, but you got to keep it together for that twisty Sector 2 as well.
Well, let's see if they can get to that Sector 2. A lot of drivers have been concerned about the plunge down the Senna S and through the Curva de Sol. It has obviously caught out many real-world drivers and seen wrecks in its days, but we are here in the virtual world, and it's even trickier to have that sense of who is where around you. As the pace car peels in, Trip Starkey gets the green flag, and he is off, but it's not a great start. Drew Kenny already gets a nose ahead around the outside, but he's going to have to complete it down into the first left-hander, and he's deep on the brakes. Drew Kenny gets up to the point. Behind him, a little bit of 3 wide, and someone spins. That's Kim Frick. Couple cars into him. Another one spins off out of Curva de Sol, and behind, a few more having troubles, and unfortunately, it looks like the fears came true.
Indeed, and I think that was Hector Garcia that got popped up there, up into the air, but down in front. Amazing move from Drew Kenny to get himself ahead of Trip Starkey. He leads now by about 0.4 of a second.
So Trip Starkey trying to hold on. Adam Spence is into third and Chris Pippin into fourth. Then it's a big gap to Crutzler down in P5. They're already hitting Ferradura here, and then down into the infield portion where things slow down. It looks like Taylor had eyes on some of the incidents. Taylor, this has some big implications.
It certainly does. Championship competitor David Crutzler was involved in the contact on that opening lap heading through the Senna S's. He tried to take it 3 wide with a couple of competitors, one of them, of course, being Kim Frick, and then, of course, another car that was collected in it after they were working their way partially through the Senna S's was going to be one of the other Porsche, or one of the other drivers. Thankfully, no other championship competitors involved in the incident, but one of who ended up on his roof was Hector Garcia in the number 6.
Oh, just had a second little incident just coming down around. I believe that's going to be the top of Bianco Di Pato. And it was the 12 car had a collision with the 8, so that's up towards the front there. That was Kaufman involved in that one. But this race is going to be back and forth. The start here, and Jeff Lashley, the other car there. But this race is going to be a tricky track because of the massive elevation changes we see and just how busy this can get, especially on the first lap. That funnel that is going down for the Senna S's at the start is a huge section of the corner, and it's Curva 1, that first drop down, big elevation change before they kick out at Curva de Sol at the bottom of that. It's a big thing. We also did have issues towards the Descida del Lago as well, towards the bottom. There's more contact further down the track, and that was also right there at that corner. These guys are getting a little bit elbows out.
Yeah, heading into there, that looks to be Benson chasing Stevenson for the 14th place. They just swapped spots, actually. And then we come back up to Spence, who has been hounding Trip Starkey, dropping multiple tenths off of Drew Kenny so far. I think Lacombe just had an issue. I see him falling down my timing tower as well. But on screen, out of the Ducks Bill and into Magurlo once again. Drew Kenny is loving the start to this race. Didn't start on pole, but didn't need to.
No, he didn't. Really able to pull away quite well there, and he's already got an 0.8 of a second advantage, and that's going to be about the range he wants to keep that in. Anything above 0.8 of a second, and he'll be in good breathing room.
All right, looks like Trip Starkey didn't catch up as well this time, although he gets it down just below 0.8. We go back to 16th place David Purdy in the meantime. He's chasing Robert Gordon, having started this race in 29th. He's up to P15, quite a gain.
Really is here, of course, but P15 is a huge movement from so far. There's a lot of movement around this on the track. Stevenson, 25th up to 13th. not as many places, but he is up quite a lot right now. And of course, we have 20th place, Bruce Friobi in 12th on the track right now. Robert Gordon, as we mentioned him. We also have Andrew Smiley up 10 from 27th, and it is lap 3.
And this is a lapped car. That's Kim Frick that's trying to stay out of the way of these drivers. Almost caused a little bit of consternation amongst them, but all three are through without a change of position. Still having Starkey in the second spot as we ride on board with him, being chased by Spence and Chris Pippen back in 4th place. Big gap behind them as well. Scott Rogers currently holding that P5. About 2.5 seconds lost. We're only on lap 2.
Yeah, it's already some big gaps forming in the field, but a lot of the times, like we've seen in this series previously, Joe, those gaps really are just forming up among trains. Ooh, that's a good run off the back there for the number 8 machine of Chris Pippen. He is going to be right tucked behind the draft of Adam Spence as they work their way up the hill.
So Spence got a decent run, but I think Pippen had a slightly better one. He closes in to about 0.3 of a second. All of them feeling the effects of the draft as they go past Subidos Dos Boxes and into the Senna S. They catch up to Starkey, but can't quite get side by side as they break for that first corner. And as we mentioned, championship getting decided today. Taylor, I believe you've... before we go to that, sorry, apologies. Chris Pippen had a great run coming off the Senna S and might have something on Adam Spence down into the Descida del Lago. Shows his nose. Spence doesn't defend, and he still will be able to keep him back. Taylor, the championship, what are we looking at right now?
Well, looking through the championship for this season, it is basically a 3-horse race for the Challenge Class Championship between Trip Starkey, David Krutzler, and Chris Pippen. Now, unfortunately for David Krutzler, he was involved in the opening incident and major issues to where he is going to be outside of even the top 30 at one point. He has to work his way through. But for Trip Starkey, in order for him to clinch the championship, he just has to finish in the top 10. If he finishes anything worse and one of the other two drivers, such as Krutzler and Pippen, win the race, then he would lose out on the championship. But for Trip Starkey, running in that second position, just logging laps, keeping the car clean, that is what he needs to set his mind to. Meanwhile, for Chris Pippen, who's running not too far behind him in that 4th spot, if he can win this race and Starkey some way, somehow ends up 13th or worse, Chris Pippen could be your Challenge Class champion.
Oof, around the outside there as Thomas Briggs tries to make a pass on Craig Smith. Doesn't quite work out. He's just to the inside as we ride on board with Smith now. There you can see it continues on. This was for about 15th position, Purdy ahead of Smiley, but they've dropped tons of time because of all this side-by-side racing. Smith still has the inside. No, he is fully behind as we now jump up to Pippen once again. Adam Spence under threat, but no look down the inside from Chris Pippen into turn 4.
No, he doesn't quite want to make that move there. Obviously, very easy to push wide, as we've seen previously here at other races on this circuit. Pippen doing a good job to just stay behind, stay focused, try to keep everything nice and easy here. If he applies pressure enough, he may see a little bit of an error get forced, as you can also see there Spence starting to close up to the back of Trip Starkey.
Something we haven't talked about yet either is there are very hot temperatures on the track. No surprises for that in Brazil. 103 degrees Fahrenheit that they're dealing with. Rachel, I'm wondering if it'll be a lot about tire management, especially in that infield section.
Yeah, looking at how things are right now, of course, is, like you mentioned, cool air, hot track. And this track is kind of abrasive, and there's a lot of forces imparted on those tires as they go around a lap at the circuit. There are a lot of corners, and that will result in the cars being put under quite a bit of stress. So we'll see those tire temperatures go up quite a lot and not cool down. So it will cause a lot of wear. These guys will have to worry about management, as I believe this is also one of our full-length races without a stop. So you have to run these things until the checkered flag.
A little bit of a problem there with Ubeta. Has fallen from about 17th down to 26th, having to wait patiently for an opening as we come back to Adam Spence. And once again, he's got a mirror full of Chris Pippen, but he doesn't really go all that defensive. After that first initial time where we saw him have to cover off, it seemed pretty cool and collected from the 055.
Yeah, he's really not making too many attacks here. Ooh, Pippin trying to get as much of that draft as he can as he weaves down there going up the hill. So a little bit of a defensive move there, I think. Oh, as we've got a little battle starting to shape up in the back. That looks like Smiley and Briggs with Purdy and Gordon. Everybody 2x2.
And no passes anyways. Briggs will stay in that 15th spot as Gordon continues to work on Purdy. We mentioned earlier they had pulled away, but it seems that gap has come down quite quickly. Now down through the horseshoe and into Esset. And you see David Purdy in that 13th spot, just leading a train of cars. They've also got, looks like Adam Chick in there. Craig Smith is still holding on and back. Not sure how he lost those positions. And on to the main straights. Our leaders are now about 2.5 seconds back from Starkey and not showing any signs of catching him.
No, certainly not. And he's just in a really good position right now, which should really benefit him in terms of track time. It's going to be about stabilizing that car, though. You can't just keep running. Gaps are gaps, but you want to try and keep it static rather than widening it, because that gives you that time to save your tires.
Big dive to the inside from Frasnick, and Palmer is able to fend him off. Behind him, Frederick Chin gets an excellent run thanks to that little tussle. Onto the Retta Aposta. Doesn't look like he's got enough of one, though. He's going to pull in a bit in the slipstream. By the time they hit the brakes, gets it down to about 0.2 of a second.
Indeed he does, so he's going to be happy about that. Spence just trying to push up there a little bit if he can. It's so tricky to get any sort of passing done in this middle sector. It's not the area you want to do it.
No, it's just so hard to try and get passes done. It's a lot of slow corners, but not many long runs to give you the heavy braking, as Robert Gordon has been in quite a battle here. He's side by side with Adam Chick going around the outside of the horseshoe. Can he make it stick? Nope, it's another right-hander, just not quite in the right position.
Yeah, not ready for that to even get into position. He's just, I think, just went a little early for that attempt.
It seemed like maybe he needed a little bit better of a spot to try and get that one done. Oh, and it looks like Starkey's under threat this time, and he is going to defend as Adam Spence goes the long way around to the first apex. He'll have the inside of the second one, but will he be pinched? No. He is going to be able to carry the momentum. He is now into P2. Another position loss potentially as Starkey finds himself challenged by Chris Pippin. He gets a nose ahead, and yet another car. Oh, my goodness. All three of them may be. No. Frick is able to be held off as a challenge from Pippin on Spence does not net him second place, but that changed around drastically in a hurry.
It certainly did. Everybody going this way and that as they came up the hill. Chris Pippin now just going to have to sit there. Trip Starkey, the big loser out of all of that. But rest assured, that tartan-colored machine is going to be on a bit of a charge here.
And Taylor's calculator has been going furiously right now, and you've got the update on the points.
Well, right now, still, Trip Starkey is in safe hands right now, as long as he keeps running in that position. But one driver I want to look at is Scott Rogers in the 737 Porsche. He currently is sitting 6th in the point standings. And due to the fact that Garrett Taylor is not racing here tonight, and Kim Frick is currently 1 lap down outside the top 30, this would move him up into 4th position into the point standing. So 2 positions gained for him if he's able to maintain this pace. So a good drive right now for the 737 Cobra Kai Porsche of Scott Rogers.
All right. Well, he's all on his lonesome, but maybe he prefers it that way, especially with how crazy it's been elsewhere around this track, and especially with those top 4 battling so hard. Adam Spence still ahead of the number 8, who goes very wide in the second part of Curva de Sol. He keeps it within the track boundaries, but he loses a lot of time.
Yeah, loses a good amount of time there, and he's not really going to have any sort of attack move coming down the Retro Aposta now. Just seeing what he can get. Remember, this is a very long race. Plenty of time for these drivers out there to get something going. There's no need to push too hard too early.
Well, tell that to some of the drivers up battling for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th with the way they've been going back and forth at it. down into Essa once again. I've been also keeping half an eye on that battle between Robert Gordon and Andrew Smiley for 16th place, because that one still hasn't gone away either, with a whole train of cars hungrily watching as well.
Yeah, Gordon and Smiley have been up and down a little bit. Gordon has been pretty stable. Smiley dropped down a spot or so and has come back up to 17. So that one is a battle that's really going somewhere. They gained a lot of track position early on. Now it's time to capitalize on it and go somewhere. So the Connecticut Valley region driver Andrew Smiley looks to the inside. Big dive there. Oh no, go, and the contact again. There, you catch it live on the screen. This is one of those problems, and this is what giving room means so much here, Joe. And Interlagos, this track is not wide, and you will make contact if you do not leave your elbows tucked in.
They come through into Mergulo here. Andrew Smiley just watching carefully, and we're watching on the replay here. Just tries to get his nose in, tips him around, and unfortunately, that is going to be a hard one to overcome as we come back live. Whoa, there's a big moment for Komats. Unfortunately, the 830 car is into the wall, and in a most unusual spot up past the water tower in Subidos dos Boxes. I don't think I've ever seen a car hit there that wasn't a Lotus 49.
Nor have I, Joe. Let's check out this replay. It comes up through here. Was he maybe taking a voiding action? Yeah, looks like there's a little bit of cut there. Caught the grass, I think, and he just tried to get out of it. Yep, and caught that grass on the outside.
Oof. And that is a very high-speed portion, so even though it didn't look like a big blow, it could have been a lot of G-forces going through that car. Back to Purdy once again here in 15th place, chasing down Adam Schick and that bright purple car down into the infield section. They're starting to lose touch with Benson, Froby, and Briggs in front of them.
You're looking for that to go, and it's going to be a gap that just keeps widening. Once you end up in these battles, it kind of separates things out, and you've got to be careful about that. Benson and Froby, right now it's relatively good for them, but Stevens is pulling on that group at the front, and he's really separated that off. Briggs at the back, he's actually got through to the front of them now, so they're just tightening things up, but it's still very, as you look back there towards the rest of that group, it really is one of those segments where you've got to just work together for that end goal of the race.
And Briggs, with his lack of qualifying, probably doesn't want to mess around with others too much, because that just slows him up each and every lap. And has already made his way up into 11th. Just amazing stuff. Next on his list, that bright green car, is Jack Stevenson in front of him. I'm hearing somebody entering pit lane. It sounds like Andrew Smiley, actually. We'll send Taylor down, see if he can figure out what is causing that, if that's a scheduled stop or not. But running down the Retta Aposta, looks like Bruce is not going to see an attack, but Benson is, and Adam Schick absolutely chucks it in there. The 407 is going to get 13th for that one. Meanwhile, let's go to Taylor for the update on Smiley.
Smiley has been black flagged for an incident out on the circuit. Missed his pit box, still struggling to try to get into his pit box right now, so just costing major trouble for him right now at the circuit as he is still recovering to get into his pit box.
Oof, man, that makes life all the more frustrating for him. Meanwhile, the car we see between Stevenson and Briggs is Kaufman. The 08 is a lap down right now, so this is not for position. In fact, he's the last car we have running in this race, and he's going to have a spin with a narrow avoidance from the yellow 32 car.
Whew, very narrow indeed. Is there you see Patrick Adamczyk going on by, and
Stevenson just went off. We'll see him there on the left-hand side. There he is. Sorry to interrupt there, but Stevenson spun on his own, gives away multiple positions. So move Briggs already up into the top 10. So two cars very quickly around the yellow car spinning off. He's going to be asking himself, is there water or oil out there?
Yeah, a couple of guys came down there. Sorry, DJ, but a couple of guys just came down. We've got Smiley back in pit road already, as is Purdy. Those guys are really having to suffer right now, but it was Craig Smith that took big advantage, actually, of him on this one, Jack Stevenson, because he just powered past him. Stevenson didn't have the speed. After he spun, of course, that left him in a really bad position at Young Cow. So by the time he reached Speedy at the boxes, they were gone.
Ooh, Froby going a little bit far off the track there. Back in 12th. That gives him a horrible run off of the Interlagos, and Benson starts to approach, but then decides against it. We come back to Evers instead, who is stuck in a train. Stevenson, who has recovered and is back on the circuit, is the one in front of him. Behind him, it's Andrew McCune. And they've got Komatz, who we saw also have issues earlier on this race in there. In fact, Komatz is going to dive it in down into Essa and somehow makes that one stick.
That was really impressive there, Joe. Good brake control from Komatz to be able to get the car slowed down before coming through that right-hander. I thought for sure he was going to be all into the back of Joseph Evers.
Great stuff from Komatz. He wants those spots back for sure. And actually not doing too shabby. He's still up, looks like 11 positions from where he began this one. We head back to Trip Starkey in the meantime. Driver looking for the championship here. Can he bring this one home? Of course, we won't know for sure until a little bit later, as it will all be unofficial, as it needs to be reviewed by the stewards. Meanwhile, down into the infield portion, as he chases Chris Pippen. He's lost 2 spots since early in the laps, and he lost the top spot at the very beginning to the man who is still leading this race, Drew Kenny.
Yeah, he did, and Kenny took a big advantage of that early on from second on the grid. And that's one of the things about the first section here. If you could hold it on the outside and someone could be fair to you, you can do what Drew Kenny did. You can go around the outside in that first corner of the center S's and just hold that inside second apex, and it just becomes so much easier to get that done. But you've got to have respect for the 2 drivers, so big respect there from Tripp, and I think also an element of he needs to finish, so he's not going to push super hard to hold that when it might wreck his race and his championship potentials. That's Frasnick here on screen, P8 right now. Frasnick is currently chasing down the car of Frederick Chin just up ahead of him on the racetrack. They come through Megarilio, coming towards Youngkow now, kicking it out, big power, the Las Vegas region driver going full throttle here up out of Youngkow towards the front stretch here. And it's a beautiful curving straight here. You're just climbing uphill there, and then you funnel into the grandstands, into the pit straight, and the fastest line is to come right across Joe, as you're coming towards that pit road entrance, and you literally are coming past that inches away to kind of straighten that curve.
Yeah, this is one track where I'm glad we don't have pit stops this time, or else we have to watch very closely to see who is pitting and who is not. Thankfully, if someone does come in, it'll be more of a shock than anything. Lashway is going to go past that part. This will perfectly illustrate, yeah, look at how far over past the pit entry line they go. And just a little bit of weaving down the main straight. No black and white flags for those drivers, though, this time. And that is still the great green machine of Jack Stevenson, trying to recover from his slip-up out of the junction. Currently stalking the 55 of McCune. This is a good exit here, DJ.
It is indeed. I don't know if he's going to poke his nose to the inside. That's David Purdy right up ahead of him. A lapped car. They're not going to get anything done, but Lashaway behind there looked like he was going to maybe try to be a little bit aggressive and see if he could get something done.
It's not to be, though. They'll have to size him up a little bit later, see if he can get a better opportunity. Drivers, I think, finally settling in a little bit. This is one of the few battles we still have very close out on the track. So hopefully they can all kind of get themselves calmed down. Whoa, as way wide goes Purdy. Not sure if he's trying to let them through or what here. As you mentioned, he is not in a race for position.
Now, Purdy's down in 29th place right now, 1 lap down. I think that was just him putting out the pit road we saw a moment ago, but it's in that sort of position where you really wanted to give them room, but this track doesn't offer it much for you, as there's Starkey, the 20 car, right up now behind Pippin.
But it is time to bring you our midway race report, brought to you by Z1 Dashboard. With each new upgrade of the Z1 Dashboard software, it gets better and more feature-rich, and version 2021.3 is no exception. The Z1 Designer lets you create your own custom displays for use with the Z1 Dashboard, so in addition to the almost 200 standard items, you can add your own custom designs and place the data you want exactly where you want it. Remember, the Z1 Dashboard also takes care of the engineering and strategy for you and helps make sure you are maximizing your on-track performance. To find out more, visit z1dashboard.com. Rachel?
Thank you very much, Joe. As we have out front, Drew Kenny from second on the grid. He took it in turn 1, the Northeast region driver of zone number 1 in that one car. We're saying one an awful lot. Hopefully it's an omen for Drew Kenny tonight. Second place will be Adam Spence, the Kansas City region driver in that 055 from zone number 10. Spence started in third. He gained a spot as well, as we know that Starkey went backwards quite a bit here, so trying to hold on to a podium spot in second. Third is Chris Pippin from the Kansas City region, also in that 8 machine. Pippin started in 5th. He's gained 2 spots so far in the race, and he's currently holding off your pole sitter, Trip Starkey. Rocky Mountain region's own is the 20 car of Trip Starkey here from zone number 9. He got it on the pole. He lost it and dropped a few positions in that initial lap, so he's fighting to gain this back, but also protect his championship potential. With the Scott Rogers from the Rocky Mountain region as well, we're stacking him in order here. A 737 machine is currently up from 11th place, gain of 6 for him. So a good run so far tonight. 7th is Gordon Wardle from the Gulf Coast region. So number 12, that 5 car is up from 15th, so gains of 9 for Wardle. He's definitely moved forwards in this race. 7th is Frederick Chin from the Las Vegas region in the 18 car. As I tell you what, if he's going that fast, I'll have to tell my sheriff buddy in Vegas to pull him over, because he is flying tonight, as he's up from 14th, so that's gains of 6 tonight. Yes, I can do maths. Craig Palmer in 8th from the Milwaukee region of zone 13. Now 44 car. Palmer started 18th. He's up 9 spots so far, running strong inside the top 10 at the moment. And we got 9th place is Frasnick from the Suncoast region of Florida, and it's the zone 12 in the 78 car. Frasnick is up from 12th spot, so he's gained quite a few more. He was actually 7th. He's lost a couple this lap. Drops him down. 10th is Thomas Briggs. Briggs is our big boy mover in the 32 car from the Maverick region. They say everything's bigger in Texas, and they're not wrong, because up from 30th to 10th is Briggs. Patrick Adamczyk from the Upper Canada region there in the 407 of zone number 1. He's down from 4th place, so struggling to recover as he runs through tonight's race. Bruce Fiobi there from the Red River region in the 130 car. He's 12th place for us tonight. Bruce started 20th, so he's up 8. 13th, Robert Benson from the Rennsport region of zone 1. A 71 machine there, up from 21st, so he's currently made gains of 8. Craig Smith in 14th from the Mid-Ohio region in the 856. Very purple machine tonight with, I believe I'm detecting anime on the side of that car. We'll have to send him to the adjudicators afterwards to have that checked. But he is currently up from 26th, so big movement for him as well. Taylor?
In the 15th position will be Josh Evers from the Big Sky region. Of course, Josh started in 32nd, so a big gain of positions for him since the drop of the green flag. Moving on to 16th position will be Steve Kometz from the Rocky Mountain region. Another big gainer tonight as he tries to avoid one car that goes a little wide there. Great job of recovering to move on, but he started in 28th. Jack Stevenson was one of our biggest movers of the race, but after some issues, he will now move up to 16th. After starting in 25th. Moving on to the 17th position is Jeff Lashway from the Hudson Champlain region. Jeff having a decent run right now after starting in 19th. One of our championship competitors, David Krustler from the Suncoast, Florida region, looking to try to gain some more positions. He currently is going to be sitting in the 3rd position in the point standings of how he runs, but he's going to need a lot of more help to see if he can clinch a championship. Moving on to rounding out your top 20 is Andrew McCune from the Rocky Mountain region. Started, of course, in 24th, so 4 spots gained for him. Graham Rennie is next in line as he rounds out your top 20. Or actually, Mark McComb actually is running out your top 20 as he's moved his way up through the field. James Frasnick has another come down pit road. Moving on to 21st position is Graham Rennie from the Canada West region, as he is also is he going to stay on pit road? Nope, he's going to continue on, just goes take a little bit of a shorter exit off the corner. 22nd is Scott Kesselin, probably one of the best looking liveries out there. A throwback to the amazing heritage Porsches back in the 70s as he continues to press forward in 22nd. The first car, one lap down. Greg Paul, or actually it's Kim Frick, who is 23rd or 22nd now, sitting fourth in the championships, but unfortunately with how he is running right now, he is looking to be sitting in fifth position in the championship as they run. So we'll see if he can be able to recover to get a hold of that fourth place in the championship. There's Greg Palmer from the Milwaukee region in that Gulf livery Porsche in the 23rd position, looking to see if he can be able to recover. 25th is Hector Garcia from the Gulfstream region. He's going to come down pit road and try to probably get some service done to his number 6 Porsche. Andrew Smiley recovering now from a major black flag incident that he was penalized for. Had to come down pit road, missed his box, could not serve it right away, but the 167 looking to continue pressing forward here. Stephen Lentz in another Gulf livery Porsche working his way through. The Northern New Jersey region driver having a decent run so far here after starting in 31st. Next up in 29th position is Freddie Lopez, Pacific Northwest region driver, is on pit road right now. Don't know what the situation. We'll have to come back and check on him here in a little bit. Mike Sachs rounds out your top 30 as he is going to continue pressing forward, not having the best of nights after starting in 16th. Albert Ubeda, Robert Gordon, and David Kaufman are all out of the race.
This concludes tonight's Midway Race Report, brought to you by Z1 Dashboard. Big thanks to them, and a big thank you to Rachel and Taylor walking us through the field. Now, some developments up at the front. Not only has Adam Spence cut down on Drew Kenny's lead, but Drew Kenny has been having some connection problems, and the stewards are very closely watching him. It looks like it may have cleaned up recently because I haven't seen him blink lately. Let's cross fingers that he'll be able to hold on to it. We get a good run down to the finish.
Indeed, Joe. And yeah, that gap has been falling down, but we're right now on board with Joseph Evers, who is trying to gain in on Craig Smith ahead of him. He's been doing a good job running some pretty consistent laps across the board here. Evers in that 830 machine, driving a good race here, and now he's going to get the full benefit of the draft.
Coming up towards the Senna S. See if this is enough of a draft, though. I see he seems a little far away to me. And yeah, the 856 is not within touching distance down into that first chicane. Evers will have to chipping away there. And looking at our drivers now that we have hit about 13 minutes left to go. I mentioned earlier, most people spreading out, and that is still the case. This is one of our closest battles that we see here on screen at this stage. Rachel?
Yeah, it really is, and these guys are really pushing it. Evers is going for this thing. He really wants to go up here towards Smith and make something happen. Now, this is a vital position because this can put them towards the top 10. They're unfortunately 6 or so seconds off getting to that, but anything could happen. So being in that hot seat, if you will, on the outside, could make your race with top 20 to something a little bit more potent.
Certainly could. It's been a tough day for most drivers out there. This has proved a devilishly difficult track. But Taylor, you've got an update on the 856 here in this battle?
Craig Smith currently is sitting 9th in the points standings right now. He's about 30 points back from Patrick Adamczyks, who is just ahead of him. But one of the things is, due to the fact of a couple of drivers not having the best of nights or not even showing up for tonight, such as Garrett Taylor, as he runs right now, he would be able to gain a position, moving him up into the 8th position. So let's see how he can do as he continues to run here, battling with Joseph Evers.
Ooh, and Adam Spence has now got this down to 6 or 7 tenths. Remember, just a moment ago, it was about 1.1 to 1.2. DJ, I think Spence is on it.
Yeah, I do too, and part of that is he was very fast through the middle sectors here. He gained 0.5 of a second in that third sector alone. And in the first sector, Spence had a little bit of traffic to deal with, so I think he is just on an outright flyer here. He comes up, he's within a half second of Kenny ahead of him. He may have something here.
If he keeps this up, it'll definitely be a couple laps before he can really start to put the pressure on as they come across the line. It is just about 11 minutes to go, a little bit more than that. So he does have time, especially at the pace he has been catching, with no pressure from behind. Oh, and I just saw another little blink from Drew Kenny and another one. This is bad news because this means the stewards are likely going to be showing him the black flag for that. And Adam Spence is going to be inheriting the lead. I see them chatting with him right now over the radio. This is awful news for the man who snatched the top spot right at the beginning of this race.
Yeah, when he was on his own, this was not a big deal. Yeah, blink, sure, whatever, doesn't matter. But when you're about to fight somebody for position, it can be a race killer for you and them, and that's just not fair.
It's unfortunate to see it come down to that. Ooh, and Craig Smith has taken a little bit of a look to the inside of Joseph Evers. Couldn't quite make it stick, though. And they start to ride up the hill, past the water tower, past Subidos dos Boxes. And Joseph Evers looks a little bit too far away, at least at this stage. The 56 not going to give up on it quite yet as they hit the braking.
No, he's not. Look, they're a little bit like Craig Smith taking a narrower entry, and oh, that's Evers taking a wider exit coming off of the Senna S as they work their way down and through the Curva del Sol now. Looks like they're about even on pace here. Evers may be able to try to pull this away.
All right, so Evers looking to try and get himself some distance from Craig Smith. And it looks like Kenny has now taken it into pit lane to serve that black flag penalty. He won't be allowed back out until he gets his internet connection sorted out. So Spence is now your leader. Pippin has inherited second, and Trip Starkey back up into third. We'll try and head down to Taylor in a bit, see if he can give us the update on what that does to the championship.
Oh man, this is huge. This changes a lot of things for us here. I gotta say, I feel for Drew Kenny. I really do. I understand the decision, but I totally feel for them. Oh man.
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
rules are rules, and they're there for a reason. So it sucks, but this is what happens, unfortunately, when the internet just does not behave for you in sim racing. In the meantime, sounds like Taylor's got that smoking calculator working very fast. Taylor, what's the update?
Well, first and foremost, major issue for Drew Kenny. He spins it coming out of pit road and then has to take a tow. So the troubles continue to happen for the number one who is leading here. But back to the point about the point standings, no major changes involving Trip Starkey or Chris Pippin as they run right now. After, of course, the officials review everything, Trip Starkey is still looking to be your challenge class champion as he is just remaining consistent, running in the position he needs to run, not pushing the limits, and just finishing the race, which he has about 8.5 minutes left to go.
So it's looking good, but knock on your favorite piece of wood right now because anything can happen in racing. The 20 is not out of the woods yet. And again, that is unofficial as well. As soon as the race is over, he went a little deep as we jump back to Stevenson and this little battle coming down into the horseshoe. Keeping half an eye on Starkey. Oh, that's not for position. Excuse me. That's a lap car catching up to him. So we stay here with Stevenson, with Komats, and also behind them, don't forget about Jeff Lashaway. Lash has got himself 2 spots in his sights, but he's going to have to get closer than this if he wants to try and make an overtake.
Yes, he is indeed, as we ride on board, flicking that car through the relatively curving left-hander. Oh, as Craig Smith has had it off. You may see him coming up on your screen here. He just got a little bit too wide through junction. Yes, indeed, that is Craig joining right ahead there. Comat's able to get by him. Stevenson able to get by as well.
Right when he needs all the momentum he can get, it all bleeds away in the grass. And Stevenson and Komats move to 13th and 12th, respectively. Here's the incident. Craig Smith in his own little fight. Did he get some help? Nope. He just went deep.
That sort of thing can happen, though. Young Cav's one of those corners that will really put you off your balance. So got to get it right, and you've got to really carry extra through that. But you see this now, actually. He's coming through, and it's been a tough one for him. But he's put up a good run so far. Let's see what he can do.
All right, he's got to recover, and he's got very little time to do so as he follows through the Descida del Lago. And then down into the horseshoe here. This is where the track starts to tighten up now. Jack Stevenson just in front of him. Komats at the lead of the train. And now Lashway has 3 cars instead to try and overtake. Even more enticing. Ooh, deep braking from the 856, but he can't quite get it done.
No, he can't, and that was a little bit of an early braking there done by Stevenson in that, done by Stevenson, yeah, in that number 4 machine. Very, very early. I think it checked up Smith behind him, but this looks like a good run there for that lime green Porsche pushing his way out.
Stevenson still on a gain of about, looks like 12 positions since the start. So we come back to Adam Spence, and this is Chris Pippen right behind him, and the traffic is not being nice right now. Mike Sachs is in front of him. Is he going to be able to let him by without interrupting? He tries to pull off. He still, unfortunately, gets in the way. A change for the lead, potentially around the outside as they climb up the hill, past the start-finish line with a mere 5 minutes left to go. Can Pippen get this one done? He's not going to have the desired line, but he will be on the racing line. If he can just break that little bit deeper, he might be able to take the spot. He does break deeper into the first corner, though. Coming back with a shorter line. Adam Spence tries to cut him off. They make a little bit of contact. He starts to go around, and Pippen is through.
Oh my gosh, that just happened. Woo! Things are spicy up here. We said we had one battle. They obliged us with a few more as Pippen clearing that thing exactly as he needed to. Oh man, this is getting really hot.
Wow, for the lead. And it all was precipitated by a little bit of lap traffic. Unfortunately, just in an awkward spot. And unfortunately, that looked like ghost contact to me. So that we're hearing a little bit of input from the stewards that I just missed. We'll check and see what they said there in a second.
Joe, I can report I actually just listened to it again. He's saying there was about 2 feet of space in between. No penalty for that contact.
Well, that's not what Spence wanted to hear, but Pippen is wiping his brow as he now finds himself up at the front after starting from P5 as we look once again back at Stevenson just ahead of Lashway, and we jump on board now, looking back from the rear wing of Komats. He's going to cover off the inside. Stevenson, and makes a late move down into the first corner, causes a spin as Komats is scared off the racing line. Slowing up, he gets a bump, Stevenson does, from Lashway, and it just trickles down to Lacombe, who now might be the one to finally have a chance to pass at all of this craziness.
Just wow, looking here on board Lacombe, as you see the 12 there, this is getting really intense. These guys are not making it easy for us, and I think they're all realizing minutes to go here. It is time to put the coal on.
And Komats went a little deep into the Interlagos, so whatever time he had gained, he has just lost. Lacombe, a little bit of a poke there, and he's not going to get a second one. Lashway just got on the radio, told Mark told him to take it down the Retta Aposta. So Mark trying to get back within the top 10 where he started this thing. This might be about as high as he gets, though, if he overtakes Stevenson and Komats into that 13th, because beyond that, Craig Smith is another about 3 seconds up the road.
Oh, that was a really wide run there, Joe, for the 21. That was a big wide run for Komats, and Stevenson is on through.
Nice opportunistic maneuver, and Lacombe, no! It was a little too much down into the junction. He is off the track. Instead of gaining one, he loses one. Maybe 2. He's just going to trundle back into the black stuff as we take a look at the replay. This is from Lacombe's perspective. He started to see it. And, well, Rachel, I guess maybe got a little too antsy and brave on the brakes there.
That could be a big thing. You see it coming, and you just take the wrong action, and it could really bite you. So it could be a tough one, of course. As hi, mowing lawns. Whew, yeah.
Well, thankfully he did not hit anything, so he's able to keep going. Oh, but it looked like he headed into pit lane. Well, that was Lashway into pit lane, not Lacombe. Well, what was that about?
I'm not sure, Joe. I'm not seeing a lot of incidents there. Oh, 14 incidents we are hearing from Lashaway, so that is a drive-through penalty.
You know what? He made a contact, I believe, at the start of the lap when we saw all that erupt. So that must have been what put him over the limit there. And that probably explains why he gave the position up and didn't defend too hard going into the Descida del Lago last time through. But a minute and a half left for Chris Pippen, which means next time by is going to be the white flag.
Yeah, it really is. That means the time has run right down, and Pippen has inherited this thing. He was going to fight for it, but now it's his to control. And Starkey is back up to second right now, so that's a big one for him. I don't think he's close enough, though, guys.
No, doesn't look like it. Second place potentially at the least, as long as he can bring it home. Before we bring it home, though, let's head back to Taylor Burst one last time, because Taylor, you've got an update on Krutzler?
I certainly do. David Krutzler, we talked about, fell all the way back to dead last after that penalty he had to serve for causing an incident on the opening turn 1. He has now moved all the way up to 10th position right now. This is a drive of the race for the Suncoast Florida region driver, but unfortunately, it's too little too late, and also his main competitors are running 1-2.
Yeah, it seems like the racing gods just were not smiling on him today. There is Trip Starkey out there in the number 20, currently running P2. That car behind him is Frick. That is not for position, but this is our leader. That is Chris Pippen, about 3 seconds ahead of Starkey as he heads towards Ferradura. And once again, a long, streaming right-hander that rises, gets a little bit blind before he finally has to slow up once again into Essa. Just half the lap here to go, DJ. This is looking like it is his to lose.
Indeed it is. He's gotten through the majority of the tricky parts of this track. Really only one more corner that can throw him off. There, he's got it nice and clean. Now just a nice quick little braking zone before he gets through Junction. And now he runs it. This is the last moment. Starkey 3 seconds behind.
Yeah, that was a clean exit. So Chris Pippen now sees this win within his hands. And as he gets ready to cross the line, give victory in the series finale to Chris Pippen in the number 8 here in Brazil. It's like Starkey about 3 seconds behind at the line. Adam Spence a little bit farther back in P3, but that is a podium for him. And where is Krutzler? Krutzler gets up to P9. For some reason, I think he got a position there right at the end, but he's a full 24 seconds behind Thomas Briggs. Another one that we have to give credit to as we watch Adam Schick here chasing on Chin. Don't think he's quite close enough, but he certainly made him sweat a little bit. Wardle will get 5th, Chin 6th, and Adam Schick in 7th.
Yeah, certainly big sweat for that one tonight. These guys really put the pedal down. This track, give it the wiggles there for the 32 as he comes across the line. Thomas Briggs, that is a big move though. 8th from 30th, that is huge.
Only 14 drivers on the lead lap here today. Krutzler just now getting to the line. That's going to take us to our results here. And as we mentioned, Chris Pippen took the win with Trip Starkey starting from pole, falling backwards during the race. But I like that never give up attitude. He at least got himself second in the end. And we believe unofficially the championship. Adam Spence was P3 as Scott Rogers finished 4th. Then it is Wardle, who we mentioned, getting a top 5 up from 15th. So a nice 10th place gain. Chin was 6th behind him as Adam Schick was 7th. Briggs, starting from pit lane here, went from 30th to 8th. It is David Krutzler who finished 9th, and Benson up 9 spots to take 10th.
Coming home in 11th, it was Joseph Evers, followed by Craig Smith and Jack Stevenson behind him. Bruce Fiobi was 14th, and Mark Lacombe, your first driver, a lap down in 15th. Kim Frick was 16th, followed by Andrew McCune in 17th, with Jeff Lassaway, Scott Kessel, and Steve Kometz rounding out your top 20.
In 21st, it is Graham Rennie with Greg Palmer in 22nd. Then you've got David Purdy 2 laps down in P23. Andrew Smiley, P24, followed by Lopez and Linz. Then you get to 3 laps down for Hector Garcia. And I believe from there it is mostly either DNFs or drivers who had to suffer from some damage that they needed to repair it, all the way to 33rd, with Kaufman being our last one. I believe we have got Chris Pippin ready to talk to us. Let's bring the number 8 car in to join us. And Chris, we had a lot of worries from drivers about the Senna S into lap 1, and it seems that those fears did come to fruition, but you snuck through, and in the end, you managed to survive while everybody else fell by the wayside. How's it feel?
Oh, first race win for me feels really great. I am still just amped up for sure.
You should feel pretty good about this one. At a track like this, where you saw a lot of cars seem to have off, seem to have spins, did you just kind of keep it cool? Were you kind of run it at 99% instead of really pushing hard, or were you all in during this race?
Oh no, definitely maybe 92%. This is just such an unforgiving track for if you run out a little wide. Those walls are awfully close, and so I just tried to keep it on track as best I could the whole race, and fortunately I was there at the end.
It took you all the way until the last race of the series, but you've finally got that win under your wing. What does this do for you next season? Is the goal the championship?
Oh, that'd be nice. I'll focus on that. We'll see. That sounds good.
All right, maybe a little ambitious, but you never know. Anybody you want to thank though for this win?
Oh, gotta thank my wife absolutely for putting up with this hobby and allowing me to do it.
That was Chris Pippin, your winner here at Interlagos, as DJ has caught up with Trip Starkey, our pole sitter and podium finisher.
I have indeed, Trip. A great qualifying session, but you had to fight on for that podium. Talk to me through this race.
Definitely. I felt good coming out through qualifying, and lost it a little bit there at the beginning. Wasn't confident with my following, but overall just wanted to try and push for the championship.
Well, we're hearing that it might be apt to call you Turbo Trip, and I think that's a pretty good description for you. How would you sum up the season as a whole, my friend?
It's been a blast. Definitely enjoyed it. It's my second season really racing, and it's been so much fun. And I really appreciate all the guys at PCA and Hagerty and Z1 Dashboard, and of course the guys at Podium. So you guys have been awesome.
Well, you've given some thanks, but any more you'd like to give out before we say goodbye to you here tonight, Trip?
Yeah, definitely to my family and my girlfriend and all my friends who've been watching this entire season. And really, I'd like to dedicate this race. I lost a friend last week, so this one's for Garrett Walker, and I'll be putting a link in the chat for a memorial scholarship for him.
Well, we will be sure to check that out as well, Trip. And congratulations on tonight, Joe.
And one more driver we're going to talk to is Adam Spence. Rachel is caught up with the man who nearly took the win, as the 055 unfortunately got tipped partway through.
Yeah, thank you very much, Adam. A really busy race tonight for you. It seemed like it was so close, yet so far at one point.
It was really unfortunate. I got tied up a little bit in traffic, and that closed the gap down a little bit. And then we just got a little bit close there in turn 2, and that was the end of it. But I'm actually really lucky I didn't fall any further back, so I'm really fortunate about that.
Very lucky indeed. What is it about this track that makes it so hard for drivers?
Do you know, it's a funny track because you've got to carry so much speed, and the line through it to actually go fast is very different to what you might think. You actually end up turning earlier into corners than you may think. So it kind of catches a number of people out, I guess, if you're not aware of those things.
I certainly would definitely do that. Anybody you'd like to give a shout out to or thank?
Yeah, as always, I want to thank my family, and my wife for letting me do this, and my friends Chris Pippin and Garrett Taylor for getting me into this in the first place. It's been a really fun season. I just wish I'd joined a little bit earlier. But a big shout out to Ross Bentley, who I found his Sim Racing Academy, during this season, and that's helped out a ton because I was struggling a little bit earlier in the season.
Well, fantastic. Well, thanks for joining us tonight, Adam Spence. Coming home today, guys, in third.
Thanks, guys.
That doesn't end our coverage because we have the sport class coming up very soon. Who will be crowned champion in that one? We'll find out in just a moment. Stick around for more racing here in the PCA Sim Racing Series.
Hagerty is the world's largest provider of specialty insurance for enthusiast vehicles and supports keeping car culture alive through youth programs, the Historic Vehicle Association, the RPM Foundation, and more. Hagerty is home to key programs such as the Hagerty Drivers Club, Hagerty Drive Share, Hagerty Valuation Tools, the Hagerty Drivers Club magazine, and much, much more. For more information, visit their website at hagerty.com. PCA Sim Racing is proud to have Hagerty Motorsports as its 2021 title sponsor.
Welcome back to Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache, better known by most race fans as Interlagos. It's the Sim Racing Series for PCA, presented by Hagerty, and we are now in the sport class. And the drivers certainly have plenty to vie for here, but up at the top of it, it is Mark Harris, who is going to be trying to bring home the championship from his top spot. In the meantime, I believe we have our sponsor for this one as well. It's time to bring you that. It is Pirelli, which was founded in Milan in 1872 and is a global brand known for its cutting-edge technology, high-end production, excellence, and passion for innovation that draws heavily on its Italian roots. Pirelli is among the world's major producers of tires and is an OEM supplier to Porsche. Find more about Pirelli at Pirelli.com. As we saw last time, it seems as though the opening of the races is really the big trouble zone for our drivers. It's going to be one to watch out for. DJ, it happened right up at the front last time. Let's hope that if we do get any issues, it isn't in front of the entire field.
Yeah, exactly, Joe, because as you dive down through these Senna S's, it can be very, very tricky. It's a deceptively narrow part of the track, not necessarily because of the actual width of it, but because of the preferred racing line as you work their way through there. And with the whole field coming down, it's a little bit of a tendency to see a kerfluffle kerfuffle coming in. But even with that, last time out, most drivers were able to keep it relatively smooth. We did see a few random spins at some places of the track that I didn't really expect. The second sector really catching out some drivers.
Well, with the grid ready to go, we now take a look as Trey Davis is the one with the pole. It is Mark Harris who will be starting second, but we'll talk a little bit later to Taylor that is not the worst thing in the world. Facciolo, who is new to this series, will start from third, as Ben Leung will be P4. Lanre Sarumi starts fifth, followed by Donald Binkley in P6, and it's Keith Morgan in seventh, followed by Doherty in eighth. Avijit Barua will be P9. Gregorato will round out your top 10.
Starting off in 11th, it's going to be Volker Krebs, followed by Jason Brodigan with Arnie Clausen and Dean Chapman in 14th. David Snelling will be 15th, followed by Stephen Jacoby with Carl Boccieri lining up in 18th, Adam Gerling in 19th, and Bob Moore in 20th.
So first tonight is going to be...
Sorry, go ahead.
The machine of Sebastiano Ballestieri, Tom Crane with 22nd, 23rd being Ryan Rappelus, Peter Yerxa 24th, Edward Treppett in 25th, Antonio De Silva 26th, Ronald Simeon in 27th, James Legault in 28th, Will Mungia 29th, Adam Holland 30th, and Val Asiano is not green.
Looks like Val is not in the session right now, so not expecting to see her in the race unless she joins quite late, because they're already heading towards the junction. So even a pit lane start will put her well at the back regardless. And there is our wall of cameras, everybody that we're looking to watch here today, and see what kind of reactions we can get out of them in this difficult race. Championship on the line. And it is Mark Harris who has come in leading in the points. Leung is chasing him down in fourth. Looks like Trey Davis is just waiting for that pace car to peel away. Even higher temperatures on the track at 130 Fahrenheit this time. Even more slippery to deal with on the surface. As they come past the Dos boxes, pace car is in. Davis having to wait for the green flag, which waves now. He's on the loud pedal. Round the outside, Mark Harris. Can he do the same thing that we saw last race with P2 taking the lead away? No, he is going to brake very early as they plunge into the left-hander down the hill. Are we going to be clean through the corner? Not seeing any issues so far. DJ, looks like we're clean.
Looks like nice and clean, although I am seeing, I think that was Arnie Clausen having a little bit of an off on the inside of the Curva del Sol, but now we get under the retro post. Oh, big spin in the back!
Oh, I see a few cars involved. Looks like Boccieri and a bunch of them finding themselves down into the barriers as Davis now leads out of the Descida del Lago, and it looks like a big charge from behind as somebody is spinning off to the inside as well.
That's Binkley and Sarumi. Sarumi almost able to catch the car and bring it back in through the horseshoe. Oh, how he did not get damage is a miracle beyond recognition.
Oof, and the battle continues. Oh, and Sarumi parked at the side of the track. Not sure why, as Facciolo and Harris battle for second place. Looks like Facciolo is going to get that as we watch the replay. Down out of the Descida del Lago, just a miscommunication between the drivers, and sad to see things go south for a couple of front runners that early on. Rachel, it sounds like you had eyes on some of the chaos happening there at the start. What happened?
Yeah, it was Carl Boccieri, unfortunately, who lost it coming out of Curva del Sol, and that just put him into some of the other cars there, causing that mass kerfuffle out of the bottom of the S's, really, at the start of this lap. Just the back end stepped round, he contacted the 242 machine, put him around, which caused that chain reaction.
Well, back through the Curva del Sol, there you can see the yellow 717 Nick has gotten by Mark Harris. Mark going to try and see if he can catch back up to him as we head to Bob Moore now, down in 14th position. Looks like Gerling gets a better exit out of the Curva del Sol as well.
Indeed he does, as we ride on board with Bob in that full motion rig, just trying to close down on Girling. Late on the brakes, almost a late move, and not going to be able to do it quite yet.
Motion rig probably feeling pretty fun down some of these steep drops that they get through here as we head back to Trey Davis. Wow, second place wasn't good enough for the 717 here, Rachel. He is already working to take the lead.
Yeah, he is, and he really wants this thing. And Cacchiolo is really going to push this car hard. He's in a great position with it, and I think he has the pressure on Davis.
Let's see if he can get the good exit out of the junction as they come out of the left-hander, looking for the grip. It's decent. We watch from Mark Harris, who definitely didn't get as decent of a run as the top two. Is this going to be enough, DJ?
It very well might be. It looks like Facciolo was faster in all four previous sectors. Now he is going to come up fast behind Trey Davis. He's going to dive down to the inside, going into the set of S's. Battle of the late breakers. Squirming under the brakes is Trey Davis, but I think he's going to try to hold in, and Facciolo is through.
Third to first within 3 laps. This is a man to watch out for. Harris is going to be able to hold on to second place, or get back into second place rather, as Trey Davis falls all the way to third. Now, we were talking earlier about championship implications. We're going to hear that a lot this week, and Taylor's got the update.
Well, right now it is a 3-horse battle between Mark Harris, Ben Luang, and Thomas Doherty for this championship run. For Mark Harris, he needs to do the same thing what he's been doing all season long, remaining consistent. In fact, in order to clinch the championship, he either has to finish 9th or higher, and to do that. His worst finish this season was a 9th place finish. For Ben, he needs to win and have Mark Harris finish 10th or worse. For Thomas Doherty, same scenario. He needs to win this race, have Mark Harris finish 11th or worse, or for Ben Luang also to finish 3rd or worse, involving in the same scenario. So keep an eye and see how this will go. But for someone like Mark Harris, just running where he is, it will clinch him a championship.
So as we watch Doherty now, giving us his perspective, he is chasing Avijit Barua, already up 3 spots from where he gridded as they approach the start-finish line once again. And not looking like, as we got to go back to our leaders here, and Mark Harris is trying to get this top spot. As he cuts back and finds that the car is at the apex, he's going to lose a lot of speed, DJ, and now Trey Davis is looking for a move.
He is indeed, and Harris was purple through that finer sector, but he may have cost himself too much time. Trey Davis trying to get something, but I think he's a little bit far back of Mark Harris.
Down through the lake descent once again. And Mark Harris has got himself back where he started this race, but he wants one more. But man, these guys certainly look aggressive here early on. Over the crest, uphill into Essa. I said aggressive, and Harris says, okay, let's give you an example, as he just about gets his nose into that right-hander.
Yeah, he really is, and he's going to try and put it in here a little bit further, but for the replay there of what took place, as that was honestly one of those very interesting positions where this race really will decide itself through these little moments.
And we might want to stay with this replay after this finishes, because we have this problem for Walton, but it's a pass for the lead for Harris just now through both Murgulo and the junction. He gets around the outside of Facciolo.
I don't know how he did that, Joe. You are not supposed to be able to pass here until you clear past that final sector. But that is indeed Mark Harris back again and in front.
Here's the move here. Started even all the way back in the Bico de Pato, through the Ducksbill, and just carried it on, was not willing to give it up. That is impressive stuff from that silver 981. Mark Harris showing why he's leading this championship.
Oh, he absolutely is, and he's been one of those drivers that really has shown us this over the season so far in the sport class, and it's been impressive. I've been really enjoying what he can do with this, and honestly, Facciolo is one that I'm really interested to see what he can do. He's not been up to here as much, and I think it'll be exciting to see what he can do with that.
This is his first ever race here in the sport class. came right up, skipped through challenge, and came right from the entry level into sport. Oh, a little deep there from the 981. Harris has got to watch out. I'm pretty certain that Nick is going to be jumping on any little mistake he sees.
Oh, for sure, Joe. The way all these top four, honestly, are battling is Keith Morgan, remember, able to slip by into that final podium position. Now, he's about a second and a half back of these two, but if they continue to battle like this, I would not be surprised if that 700 starts to claw his way forward.
Had a bit of a problem back there from Antonio De Silva. Don't really need to go to it. A little bit of a touch from behind from Simon. Sent him around in ESSA. As we now watch one of our onboards. This is Antonio De Silva. Currently down in the 26th spot. Lost a lot just from that little bit of a touch. Back to the battle for the lead. They are starting to pull away now from Davis as Keith Morgan has replaced him there in third. Can he try and gun them down? Coming out of the Curva de Sol through the Retta Aposta and into the braking of the fourth corner on the lap. Little bit of a wiggle from Harris there as he got on the binders.
Yeah, that's one of those things that can happen with these cars. They'll get a little bit slidey on a track that is this aggressive, and it can be really difficult for them. In terms of the weather, right now it's a lot warmer here, but the track is a lot hotter, so it's definitely making them a lot slippier overall.
I mentioned it there during the pace lap, 130 Fahrenheit, and it's now up to 131, so it is not cooling down. We're smack dab in the middle of the day, about 40 minutes past noon here in virtual Brazil. Down through the Duxbill once again, and Nick keeps poking that nose little by little. We check on Trey Davis. You can see just how far back he has fallen since he started out up at the front of this race. He was on the pole. This is looking a little bit familiar, actually, DJ.
Yeah, it is, unfortunately, there for that first Settlers Region driver, but he's also got something else to worry about, and that is in the form of the number 290, Ben Leong. Remember, he's down a position from his starting spot. Now, within about 7/10, we ride on board with that 290 as they fly down the front stretch. They are gaining in very, very quickly.
Yeah, and Ben really wants to try and gather up some of these spots, because remember, he's in the championship fight with Mark Harris. So he basically needs to win this race as Harris is looking to try and take that role. But Nick is going to try and show himself down to the inside of the Descida del Lago and then backs out of it. Does shake the 981 a little bit wide coming off the corner, but he doesn't lose time.
Yeah, no time lost at all there. Exactly what he needs to get done. And this track has heated up very rapidly from what we've seen in the previous one. So really going to be a much trickier race, especially when the tires get on a little bit longer. Right now we're early time, so later on in this race it's going to be super icy.
Going to be tough. I wonder if that tire management will pay dividends. Oh, as Doherty nearly making contact with Barua there coming through ESSA. He's going to have to back out of it a little bit, but he can't back too far up. Gregorotto is just behind him. Krebs is in there, and Brodigan. That's all for position.
Yeah, Joe, and this is a little bit similar to what we saw in the previous race here, that you're getting these gaps starting to form, but in other places in between those gaps, you're getting these little bits of trains that are starting to go. And this is, as you said, really from Barua in 6th all the way down to Jason Brodigan in 10th. Behind them, Dean Chapman, about 3 seconds back of Brodigan. He's running it into an island unto himself. Oh, we got past the lead.
That is Nick once again setting himself up to the top spot. Mark Harris, interestingly, did not fight it, Rachel. I'm a little bit surprised, but I wonder if he's thinking championship.
I think you've got to, especially at this stage of the race, you've got to think championship. Otherwise, that's how you lose a championship. If you fight it, especially coming in towards turn 1, you could throw the entire race.
Leaves the door open. Doesn't go completely over to the side, so just kind of hovers in the middle of the track, but at 717, easily sneaks through. Now that he's ahead, will he swap it back? How many passes for the lead are we at this point?
Joe, I don't think I can count that high.
Don't have your shoes off?
Exactly.
Well, they are now heading through the infield section and into the Ducksbill once more. Nick having started this race in third. Ooh, a little bit of tire spin coming off the corner, though. We come back to Bob Moore in 14th. Let's see if this car is weaving. This rig is waving back and forth with all the G-forces as it comes through the infield, having to really just sway to side ahead of him. That is the 248 of Adam Gerling, and actually within very close range. He could potentially have a good fight into turn one if he gets the exit correct.
Yeah, the exit is ever important, especially with a track like this that has so many corners that are kind of slow speed. There are the fast corners, but it's the slow corners here that make the lap. And if you look at the track map really of this circuit, you're dealing with places like Interlagos, which is a big braking zone, huge run there. Esse is a huge one as well for getting good time because it's a flow section there through all those down towards Pinarino, which is actually quite fast. Vinca di Pato is a massive one that sets you up for the run down to Maguglio towards Yoncao. And Yoncao seems fast, but it's actually a very slow corner because you have to nail the exit more than the through speed.
That's one of those things that can make or break the lap for sure. Sweet, right on board once again down the hill. This is on board with Dean Chapman here. He's chasing Brodekin just ahead of him, which has been an interesting battle here, Taylor. And, a different livery as well for Volker.
Indeed, but Joe, we've had a swap back for the lead. Mark Harris able to get back by in front. That was Facciolo having a little bit of a mistake through Esse. He ran wide and Harris pounced on the opportunity, and that has also allowed for Keith Morgan to catch back up and truly make this a four-car battle for the lead.
Here's the pass right here. Yeah, just caught him napping once again. What a great fight. I did not expect this much back and forth, especially for the lead in this race. In the meantime, I believe we were going to be talking to Taylor a little bit earlier about some of our mid-pack battles. Taylor, what have you got?
Well, looking at 9th and 10th, that's Volker Krebs and Jason Brodekin. Entering into tonight, they sit 7th and 8th in the point standings right now. But we're missing two drivers inside the top 10. That's Carol Davis and Daniel Florian. They're sitting 5th and 6th as of before the start of the race here tonight. Since they did not start this race, they are actually going to be dropping back to 9th and 10th by the looks of it, even possibly more, but moving Volker Krebs and Jason Brodekin into the top 6 in the point standings if they are to continue as they run. So a great drive for these two competitors here as they continue to run inside the top 10.
Little bobs and weaves out of both of our P1 and P2. And what this has done has allowed both Morgan and Davis to hold touch with them as we come back to Gregor Roto now here on board the number 28 machine. He is currently chasing Barua. And then a little bit farther back to Morgan once again. Trey Davis in the 217. Just about half a second back from Keith Morgan. Watching from his perspective, liking that 3-screen setup. Very blue room as well. Oh, and in front of him, a look around the outside, DJ, as Nick has got another run.
He does indeed. He's going to try to do this the long way around, as you said, Joe, just trying to hold it if he can. But it looks like he didn't have the closing speed, and pretty smart of there for him to back off as he went around like that.
Yeah, especially right here, because look, Rachel, he has got a good slipstream down the Retta Aposta. Does he dare again?
It's going to be a tricky choice, but I think he can go for it. It's definitely a possibility, but if you can clear him before the corner, it's actually... No, back in again. I was going to say, if you could clear him before Interlagos, he could actually have sped the two of them up and pulled them away, but I think it's a little bit too short.
He's right underneath that rear wing at this stage. And we've still got plenty of racing left to go. So much has happened. I'm kind of shocked that we've still got 28 minutes left on the clock here, as we see very different lines between them through Essa, and weaving back and forth through the set of hairpins. And this is a lot more steady for the 717 car. Wider line as well. He's making sure that Harris feels threatened.
Yes, he is just applying that pressure. This isn't a track like necessarily VIR or some of the other places we visited where putting that pressure on can have maximum effect. But I'll tell you what, Nick is doing everything he can. Great run there out of the junction. He's going to have a little bit of a look here, I have to imagine.
They pulled themselves away by about 1 second ahead of Keith Morgan, so they should be safe to try and fight here without losing the spot. He's going to defend Mark Harris. Once again, making sure that Nick has to do this the hard way. Into the braking. Nick is much deeper down into the corner. Facciolo does not get the track position, though. Tries to cut back. Has a much better exit. Once again, looking far ahead, playing the long game. Nick could get it here.
Yeah, he really could. It's almost the opportunity. They're so close here. Nick going for an opportunity. Looks to the inside. Will he hold it in here? Will he back out again? So tough to say. He goes for it on the brakes. Gets it turned in. Nicely done.
That is P1 once again, but look at the cutback. Harris manages to get wheel to wheel down as they plunge. Oh, and they're going to bang doors. They managed to keep from wrecking after that one, and Nick will retain the top spot, but they've given up all the gap that they pulled to Keith Morgan. He is on it once again.
They have indeed. Keith Morgan smelling some blood in the water. The Hoosier and the driver of the 700 trying to work his way down around that corner and now back up the hill again. Look at this, Joe. The top four nose to tail as they make their way around Vico de Bato.
Oh, and they once again have to go side by side through Morgulo, giving it up. Keith, no, he's not going to give it up. I thought Mark Harris was going to try and fall back into line. That's going to leave him open. Here comes Morgan. They come together, and Harris gets spun around. Again, championship is on the line here. There goes his rival, Leung, in front of him. He's going to be able to get it rolling, but Mark Harris is going to fall to fourth. After that, maybe fifth, because Doherty could get by.
Oh, this is getting very spicy. We're not even halfway through yet, and these guys are all over this thing, getting incredibly racy up at the front. And now
Harris is in. Sorry to interrupt. Harris is in. We're watching the replay, but he has come into pit lane. I'm not sure if this is a drive-through penalty or if he's got some damage that he needs to repair. But again, he needs to finish ninth or higher. This is critical stuff. Sorry, Rachel.
No, go for it, absolutely. But yeah, in from here, this is a big change for thing. Oh, and he missed his box, and he's gone out again. It's a drive-through. Oh, this is stop and go penalty. Incident penalties, yeah, 12 incidents.
Well, it's a good thing he missed his box then, because he didn't want to stop in his box. He gets back out. He's down to 14th. I'm sure Taylor Burris's calculator is clicking away right now. We'll go to him to see what this does. But Keith Morgan is now up into P2 as Facciolo has only still about a second to that 700 machine.
Well, right now, it's on the bare minimum right now, Joe. But due to the fact Ben Luang is not leading this race, Mark Harris is so far a little bit safe. Not by much, but he has a little bit of breathing room, but he's got to get into the top 10 and make sure Ben or Thomas doesn't get up to the front of the field.
I wonder if the stewards are going to look at the incident as well. If Morgan might get a black flag out of that. We'll probably get an update a little bit later on that as we come back to Bob Moore here in 11th. Trey Davis just behind him, and in front it is Stephen Jacoby.
It is indeed as they work their way up through. That was a little bit of a narrower line there coming through the junction for Bob, and it looks like that may have cost him a hair bit of momentum on Jacoby in front of him as looking down, they continue to power on. Here comes Dean Chapman. He's at the head of this little battle almost. He's going to try to make a late move on Brodigan.
Brodigan doesn't defend, or at least not enough, and Chapman gets P8. Ahead of them is Volker Krebs. Can they run him down now that they've settled that out, or will Brodigan fight back and slow them up?
Oh, this is really busy now. This is so much more hectic than the challenge race. Honestly, this is proving to be incredibly gripping racing. These guys are absolutely all over each other, and it's making it very exciting. But the big change to that's what's really got me was the loss of the lead there, and that is really shaking this whole thing up.
And Harris was down pit lane again, so it sounds like Taylor has an update. Taylor, what's going on?
Ben Luang is now your points leader. Even when Mark Harris was running in 14th position, Ben Luang was able to move up just barely over Mark Harris by less than 20 points now separates the two, but due to the fact Mark Harris is now dropping further down through the standings, now in 16th, it just makes it even more of a points gap between these two drivers. We'll update a little later on.
We're hearing from Morgan that he's not going to be getting a penalty. So it'll look like they're free to race. Oh, Jacoby is now spun around. This is good news for Mark Harris. He needs every position he can get. The number one is going to be able to get rolling before Mark can catch him, but the gap is lessened considerably. This is Sebastian Vettel 2012 type stuff.
It is indeed, Joe. I was actually just sitting here thinking to myself if we were going to have a is that Glock type of moment. Wow, that's a big spin off track.
Yeah, I think that was a replay.
That was the replay. Sorry, yeah. That was the replay.
I've done it plenty of times. And as we come back to, I believe this is the fight between Brodegan and Chapman. Yep, for 8th place. Dean just covering off just slightly, comes back to the racing line. Nothing unfair there. Oh, and Trey Davis is in. What caused Trey Davis to pit? We'll check on that a little bit as well. He falls all the way to 20th. Another one of our drivers that should be much higher up. He started this thing on the pole. Might not even get a top 20 here today, depending on how the rest of it goes.
Yeah, it's been up and down for this race as we're on board with Volker Krebs right now, looking towards Gratolo and up towards Barua up here ahead of them. And this is a really dense part of the track here, through Pinarino down towards the bottom, and these guys are just, they're bumper to bumper, which is making things incredibly busy, especially when you're dealing with pressure. The one thing is having one car near you, maybe chasing you for position, but when you're in a big train at a track like this, it can really throw the concentration and drive that stress level on them all the way up.
I know it's always difficult for me in those situations, but I think we've got a bit of a gap, so it's time to bring you the Midway Race Report, brought to you by Pirelli. Pirelli was founded in Milan in 1872 and is a global brand known for its cutting-edge technology, high-end production, excellence, and passion for innovation that draws heavily on its Italian roots. Pirelli is among the world's major producers of tires and is an OEM supplier to Porsche. Find more about Pirelli at Pirelli.com. Rachel?
Thank you very much, Joe, as we have Nick Facciolo out front, and I apologize if I ruined that name there. The 717 from the Northeast region of Zone 1, starting in 3rd, currently running on the front. Second is Keith Morgan from the Central Indiana region of Zone 4. He's starting in 7th, does get into 5 for the 700 car there. So he's absolutely pushing forwards here with 1.5 seconds ballpark to the leader. Third place, Ben Young from the Upper Canada region, they're 2.90 there. Ben started 4th. He's up 1 spot so far in tonight's race. 4th as we see him on board there, Thomas Doherty from the Central Indiana region, that 59 machine, up from 8th, gain of 4, halfway up from where he started. 5th is Abhijit Barua from the Mid-Ohio region, the 991. Good solid Porsche number there. Zone 4 driver is, of course, up from 9th, so that is 4 places for him. Enrico Gregorato from the Pacific Northwest region of Zone 6 in the 28 car. He's up from 10th, gains of 4 for him as well. Everyone's up 4. And the same thing actually applies to Volker Krebs, started 11th, running 7th. Another 4 for him, the 53 car, and he said 4, it's on my brain, as the Haribo machine comes round. Oh, tight, that little contact through the center S's for the Canada West region driver. Dean Chapman in 8th place, the Northern New Jersey region driver of Zone 1 in the 013. He is up from 14th, so finally we have someone who's up 6 places. Jason Brodigan from the Maverick region of Texas, the 14 machine of Zone 5. He is up from 12th, gains of 3. 10th place in the 772 is Bob Moore from the Northeast region there, zone number 1. Bob's had a big race. He's up from 20th into that current 10th place, so good racing by him. David Snelling in 11th from the Northeast region of Zone 1 in the 17 machine, up from 15th, gains of 4 for him as well. Seems to be a popular number tonight. 12th is Lanre Sarumi from the Chicago region of Zone 13. That 11 machine is down from 5th place, a rough race for him so far. Another driver suffering is Donald Blinkley, involved in some issues. The music start region of Zone 3. The 02 car started in 6th, currently running 16th, 13th. 14th is Peter Yerkser from the Down East region of Zone 1. The 54 car is up from 24th to his current high of 14th. Edward Trippett there in 15th from the Nordstern region of Zone 10. The 444 is up, not 4, but 10. Taylor?
Next up is going to be the 864 of Tom Crane in his very futuristic simulator, moving and shaking as he's going over the bumps. The Mardi Gras region driver looking to have a strong run here as he works his way up through the field. Moving on to 17th position, Antonia De Silva, right there in the heat of a battle. The Metropolitan New York region driver trying to remain focused. There you see his onboard camera with his VR headset ready to go as they work down the front straightaway. He's in an intense battle with the 217 of Trey Davis, who will pass by him. The First Settlers region driver just makes a beautiful pass before entering into the Senna S's. There you see his onboard camera. Triple screens, love the lighting and the seat that he has there. Very comfortable as he continues to race forward. Moving on to 19th is Stephen Jacoby from the Lone Star region. He is working his way through car number 1, having a quiet run as he had a couple of incidents out on the track, but will work his way through. Behind him is Adam Holland from the Upper Canada region. He's gained 10 spots after starting in 30th right now as he's trying to gain one more ahead of Trey Davis. Adam Gerling sits in 21st, another Metropolitan New York region driver. The 248 is definitely on the move after starting in 19th. And one of our biggest upsets so far of the season, it's Mark Harris, the Connecticut Valley region driver. Multiple incidents he had gone through in just the past few laps. 622nd and possibly out of a second, a first, or even a third place run in the championship. Cara Borchieri is sitting in 23rd. Had a couple of offs there for the Pegasus Racing Porsche. The Metropolitan New York driver trying to finish off a strong run here of the season. Next up is Arnie Clayson from the San Diego region in his beautiful silver, red, and green Porsche. Started in 13th, had a couple of issues coming out of the Senna S's, but will work his way through to try to recover as he sits 24th. James Legault from the Central Indiana region is in 25th, car 27. He is currently trying to gain a few more spots after gaining 3 already. Will Munguia from the Peach State region in the 907, the last car on the lead lap here tonight. 27th, the first car 1 lap down, is Ryan Rapalos in his beautiful recent Total Region Porsche. There you see his onboard camera, trying to get through it as he has the Art Car livery. And then as we move back to 28th, you'll find Robert Walton in the Maverick region, the beautiful green chromish livery Porsche in number 5. The 516 of Sebastiano Ballestieri from the Metropolitan New York region driver had a couple of issues on the opening stages, is also 1 lap down. Ronald Simon is out of the race while Val Asinos did not start.
This concludes tonight's Midway Race Report, brought to you by Pirelli. Big thank you to Pirelli as well, to Rachel and Taylor taking us through the field. It is still Facciolo who is on the top spot, and he has gapped himself by about 3 seconds over Keith Morgan. We look at Brodigan now, somebody off the track there, off to the side. Not sure who that was. Looked like a bit of an issue. I think that was Gregorotto.
Yeah, it was indeed. He just had a little bit of an off there, and so that sent him flying. But we continue to check back here. These two, Joe Brodigan and Chapman, have just been absolutely inseparable this entire race. But we've got a battle here. This is Moore and Snelling. Bob Moore able to hold off Snelling coming down into the Descida del Lago. But let's see if Snelling's got anything.
He's got more speed, but I don't think he has enough straightaway. Yeah, as they finally hit the brakes here into the double right-hander. Bob Moore is going to hold him back for now. This is for the last of the top 10 that these two are trying to take here. And also, we had additional issues for Mark Harris during that through the field that has sent him. We saw 22nd. He's gotten back up to 19th. I think, if I'm doing the math right, and never count on that, He only needs to get up to 11th if Ben Leon finishes in third to get back into the championship lead. But as we watch him right now, you can see he's got a long ways to go. Still working on Jacoby, and looks like Steven is going to let him through. So that's 18th. Still has 7 more spots.
Yeah, he has got to get a massive move on here, Joe, and I just don't know if there is enough time for him to do so.
Yeah, I think I'm looking at my track map. He's half a lap away from 11th place right now. It's 12 laps. I'm not seeing that unless something crazy happens out there. As we come back to Barber and the 991, trying to weave back and forth, seeing if he could find some way past Doherty. This is for that 4th position. Volker Krebs just behind them, kind of giving a watch, hoping something pops up out of those two battling.
Yeah, they really are, and it's coming down to this sort of point where these guys really have to be super careful with what they're doing. 12 minutes left, 11 minutes left. It's in that ballpark where the tires are starting to get really worn down, and these, more so than the last race, are super close together here, and it's really meaning they're having to push the cars much harder than in the separated race.
And we've seen some mistakes out there. We've seen some coming together. A little bit of a slide through the Bico de Pato from Arne Claessen, who is just at the front of them. So it's not for position. He's a lapped car. I think he just recently went through pit lane for a drive-through penalty himself. And he's going to pull off the left-hand side. Yep, he's motioning. He is going to let them through.
All right, so that's a heads-up move there from Arne Claessen. Yeah, that drive-through really coming out to bite him. Trying to stay out of the way here, but he is going to come up against that attenuator if he's not careful. Every time I watch these drivers take that corner, Joe, I am always afraid that somebody's going to hit it, but we got to focus on this battle because this 4-car train really starting to heat up. Doherty leading Barua, leading Krebs, leading Brodigan.
Yeah, we've already seen just how tough it is to keep the mistakes out, how hard they're having to push. A little wide there from Krebs, coming off of the curve at a Sol. That'll drop him back from Barua. I'm sure the 991's grateful for that because he's already got a run on Doherty, but not enough straightaway. Backs out of it before he goes on the attack, and in fact, he brakes maybe too early because that Haribo car is suddenly right back with him.
I mean, who wouldn't want Haribo with a weight in a race when it's in the car behind you? Yeah, good point. Volker Krebs definitely putting the pressure back on here. He's one of those drivers that always seems to bounce back. A little bit like when you drop one of those little gummy teddy bears. They always seem to bounce into the weirdest places, and the 5-second rule just can't hold up to that sort of trajectory.
So is that sugary little car continues to pressurize Barua. Let's see if he can make the pass in these final 10 minutes. In the meantime, Taylor has some confirmation on what the championship situation looks like.
Mark Harris's number goal for the rest of this race, 1-1, 11th position. If he gets there, that will tie him and Ben Luong for the points championship lead. Now, of course, they normally, for tiebreakers, they go off of the most wins and then so on and so on. Mark Harris has 3 wins this season, so he would easily win the tiebreaker if that were the case right now. But he is setting his sights right now on Tom Crane to pick up another position, and he is making some headway. He's just got to get around Tom Crane and then set his sight on the next competitor, which would be Edward Trippett. But it's going to be a lot of things happening between now and the next 9 minutes.
Yeah, I'm looking at the timing, and right now 11th place is, well, closer actually, because Bob Moore just goes into 11th place after losing 10th with a mistake into turn 1. As we continue to watch Volker Krebs just in front of Brodigan here. There's actually contact. Moore got hit by David Snelling. Ooh, well, if Snelling gets a penalty for that hit, that could be another position there for Mark Harris. It all depends. And Stephen Jacoby in the 1 is now down pit lane. It looks like potentially serving something himself as these 4 stream down towards the Bico de Pato and then take it through that banked right-hander. Doherty's starting to pull away. I think he's got the legs under him now. Maybe he's been saving a bit of that rubber and has managed to put some distance between himself and his rivals.
Yeah, he has indeed, Joe. Just a little itty itty-bitty margins here and there. I'm not seeing anything overly impressive over that last lap. Just a couple of hundredths in sector 1s, 3, and 5. Starting to pull away here a little bit more as they cross over the start-finish line, and he's able to build that gap to about 0.8 of a second.
Well, my drama senses were tingling correctly. David Snelling just got a black flag for the contact, so he's heading into pit lane. Where is Harris right now? Harris is just coming out of the junction now. So I think, yeah, if he doesn't at least go by him, he should catch up quite a bit. As now we watch from on board Volker Krebs. And, oh, almost a glancing blow to the side of the 991 there, Rachel.
Oh, that was skinny latte levels of fat close to that other car. Oh my God. I think Volker, he needs a brown race suit now.
Yeah, he does indeed, and I can report, I can report that Harris did get by Snelling. So up to 15th, 4 more positions to go, but he is still 10 seconds behind Peter Yurtsa, who is the car in 11th he needs to go by.
Yes, he does, Joe, but pretty crucially, Donald Binkley, who was also up there, had a big spin coming out of the junction as we watch a replay there. So Binkley had the spin coming out of the junction that gets him a little bit closer up and forward, and Bob Moore also came down pit lane. So Harris up to 15th right now, only 4 more positions to go.
Peru losing some spots for that spin, and Rodigan is still close behind on Krebs. We're going to jump back to this battle. Good slipstream for the 14 car. Looks a little far back. Once again, creative lines down the main straight here before they finally get back to the right-hand side and brake hard for the Senna S.
Yeah, there's also some lines there, and this fast line is one thing, but when you're trying to defend, it's going to vary somewhat to try and balance that off and kind of hold the preferable line, really, which will be to the higher side, so you can go outside on the corner as it gives you a wider run through it. So they have to be careful, but this one's all over the place. I'm loving this battle.
I'm loving this, and I'm honestly loving the climb back through that Mark Harris is having to do, because I think he's got another position in his sights. He's going to try and pass trip it in the 444 right now, which he does as we continue to stay on board with this fight for the 4th place down into ESSA. So just keeping our viewers abreast. Harris is now into 14th. There you can see from the view of Edward.
Yeah, indeed, and that's going to put him right clearly in the sights of Antonio De Silva up the road from him. Mark Harris coming on very, very quickly. He's been quick through these middle sectors as well. That is really where your skill as a driver comes to show. So we'll have to see if he's able to get anything done here.
It is 5 minutes left on the clock. Harris still has, I think, 9 seconds to make up now, it looks like, to try and catch Yurtsa. That is going to take a Herculean effort, and this man coming in with a big splash, Facciolo, has got himself into the top spot by a impressive margin, 5 seconds over Keith Morgan at the first time of asking.
Yeah, it really is, and Morgan's been putting in a great race, but he has dropped time down to Facciolo, and that's going to really make a big difference there. But I just want to say I rather like Nick's livery on that car, actually. It's a good one. As we see the USMC car there. That's the 700 of Morgan, of course, but the just glass of beer. Good choice for anyone who knows where that comes from.
As we come back to Brodigan now, just behind Volker Krebs. Dropped back since we last looked at this one. He was much closer about a lap and a half ago. Oh, and Harris is in again.
I fear this may be an incident limit drive-through, Joe. He had an off coming up through the Pico de Pato. He has had 16 incidents. Indeed, that is a drive-through. He is going to come out right around Carl Boccieri. I think Boccieri may get around him, but this looks like championship hopes done and dusted for the 981.
It might not be the hammer or the nail in the coffin yet, but the hammer is swinging down. And Mark Harris has seen that championship slip through his fingers. Brodigan who is just here for a good finish, has got the best exit we've seen in some time. He's going to start to pull on Volker Krebs. Can he take a bite out of that Haribo car and manage to get into the top 5 as they come through the Subidos dos boxes? He's now within a car length. A little bit of a defense from the 53. Krebs making sure to give him a hard time here into the Senna S, and no, Brodegan can't do it yet.
Yeah, really getting in there, but Brodegan just can't quite find an option. Krebs has made that Porsche very, very wide since he got that position, so good job there by the 53.
Yeah, impressive defense here from Volker Krebs. Late in the race, does not want to give it up, and he's staying quite cool under the pressure. We just now have 2.5 minutes left to go. Where is Facciolo in the 717 as we continue to watch this fight? There we see him on screen now. That looks like Magrulo to me. And let's see, so this will be 2 to go or 1 to go. This is actually going to be very tight.
Yeah, it is indeed, Joe. Drivers setting out here about 134, 135s for these leaders. I think it's going to be 2 to go.
Yep. He's coming to line with about 150 left on the clock. 2 to go for Nick to try and wrap this first race up in the sport class. And our unofficial champion, as it stands right now, we believe is going to be Ben Leon, who runs in 3rd.
It's looking that way for him, which is a pretty strong run, and it's a comfortable spot he's in. Gap in front, gap behind, so definitely where you'd want to be coming into this sort of situation.
Keith Morgan's got to be a little bit frustrated because he could have gone from 3rd to 1st in the points if Ben was just a little bit farther down. Wow, things getting tight on screen into the first corner between Krebs and Brodegan. And do my eyes deceive me? Have they started to catch Doherty?
They have indeed, Joe. Volker Krebs about 0.5 of a second behind Doherty right now. Doherty just having it look like a bad lap last time out.
Yeah, 136 flat compared to the 35.8 previously. Here is Doherty's onboard perspective as we watch over the rear wing, looking at Krebs. The 3-car fight always a little bit more complicated than trying to just battle with 2. And down into Essa. Krebs not close enough. Can he continue to reel in that 59? Oh, man, that racing line, Rachel, does not look correct to me.
No, it really offset him there, and it cost him quite a bit, which backed everyone around that. So really not ideal to be put into that sort of situation, but this is what happens. This is what costs you time. We see Nick here coming in right across that line there and taking a really tight line. White flag this time by.
Last lap for Facciolo down into the first corner as he puts a lap on Trey Davis, our pole sitter. Extra insult to the injury there. Out of the Curva del Sol. He's got 6.1 seconds back to Keith Morgan. And Ben Leon, how nervous has he got to be in that 290 machine? Nobody near him challenging for position. 9 seconds ahead, 6 seconds behind. All he has to do is cruise to this podium.
Exactly, and that's easier said than done, though, as we check back in on that battle. Doherty looking a little bit squirrely coming around the Curva del Sol, as it looked like a pretty good run here for Volker Krebs. He's got the overspeed. Doherty trying to take that car to the middle of the track. Krebs going to have to go around the outside.
Braking as late as he dares. Doherty keeps him back and parks it on the apex. Apex, a little kiss there to the rear bumper of the 59, but thankfully no spin. That held up Krebs. I think Brodegan wants to try and take a move at it as we head over to our leader, but no, Brodegan did not make the move.
Oh, guys, sorry. Ben Young, I don't know if he's running on pace right now, but front corner, I just caught the edge of his car there. Looked incredibly crunched. I know he's coming into the last lap here, but is he on pace?
I'm not sure. We'll have to check in, but in the meantime, victory for Nick Facciolo. Here today, the 717 wins it, the first race in the sport class for him.
That's a heck of a way to stamp your name onto the PCA series there, Joe. So we check back on this battle with Dean Chapman trying to chase down Jason Brodigan, and Brodigan in turn trying to chase down Krebs in front of him. They fly their way out of the Supercustos boxes. That's going to be Krebs trying to get a little bit out of the draft. Don't think that's going to be enough for Brodigan, and indeed, Krebs will take that position.
I can confirm Leon did manage to bring it home into third, but he was a little slow on that lap. We'll try and figure out what happened there. As we watch this fight down to the line, Boccieri is currently chasing Crane. And then behind them, De Silva and Mark Harris are vying for position as well. Poor Mark up into 18th. Looks like he has gotten swapped back around by De Silva that time through. And off of the junction. Here they go, up the hill.
Getting it through here, and what a race we had from these guys all day long. And they'll come across now to the start-finish line, and I think he's going to hold it. Just about, although it could be a tight one behind them.
It could be. And it looks like Adam Holland going to be able to get by De Silva, and Gerling is going to finish in 19th, but Mark Harris settles for 20th. What happened on that run? I think he actually got a bump to the side right at the end. He did. He got bumped into the grass coming past Water Tower. But let's go through our results. It was Nick Facciolo who took the victory from third on the grid, followed by Keith Morgan, just shy potentially on the championship. We'll try and get the confirmation on where he wound up in the points. Leung finished P3 as Doherty was fourth today. It was Volker Krebs finishing fifth and Brodigan in sixth. Then it was Dean Chapman up 7 spots today into seventh position. Barua finished eighth and Gregorato finished in ninth.
10th was Lanre Sarumi, followed by Peter Yerxa in 11th. Donald Binkley was able to come home in 12th, followed by Edward Trepay in 13th. Then Bob Moore was 14th with Tom Crane 15th, Carl Boccieri 16th, and Antonio De Silva 17th. Adam Holland came home 18th, followed by Adam Gerling, and Mark Harris, as we said, was down in 20th.
21st tonight was Stephen Jacoby with David Snelling in 22nd, last car on the lead lap. Down one lap was 23rd Will Mungia, Trey Davis after a really rough race for him in 24th. 25th Robert Walton with Ryan Rapolis in 26th. 27th was Sebastiano Ballestieri and was 28th, 9 laps down Arne Klassen. James Lookout 10 laps down. Ronald Simeon in 23 laps down.
And we've got our winner ready to talk to us, Nick Facciolo. And Nick, congratulations. Usually the new kid is a little bit shy in class, but you didn't seem to suffer from that at all. You got right into it today.
Yeah, thank you.
Tell us about that battle up at the front, especially knowing that it's the last race of the season. There's some championships on the line. Did that cause you a little bit of hesitancy anywhere, or did you just immediately put that out of your mind and go for it?
A lot of hesitancy in the first 2 laps or so with those extremely cold tires. It's like driving on ice out there. For the next 10 or so, absolutely not. Giving it everything.
Wow, just impressive stuff. So what are your thoughts now? You've come quickly through the entry class up into sport class. Are you enjoying the PCA?
Absolutely loving it. Every minute of it.
I'd say so. I'm sure a win definitely helps the enjoyment factor there. Is there anybody that you want to thank for today's victory?
Actually, Chris Braun out in the Northeast region for bringing me into this group and getting me set up so I could race tonight.
Fantastic stuff, Nick. We look forward to seeing more of you. That was our winner here today from third on the grid. I believe DJ is caught up with Keith Morgan now.
I have indeed, Keith. A big battle up through the field and keeping everything nice and tight up there. It's got to be a good feeling to come home on the podium.
Podium's cool and all, but the absolute best part of that race was watching Nick and Mark in that epic battle, trading the lead back and forth. That made the whole evening worth it right there. I had the best seat in the house.
We call that the popcorn position, and I got to tell you, I was very jealous of being in your seat to see it play out. But I'm curious a little bit about your mentality when that kind of thing happens in front of you. Are you having fun watching it? Are you going, okay, I'm going to wait to pick up the pieces, or are you looking for the way to get by?
Oh, I want them to battle. I want them to battle in every corner, go through it 2 wide every time, because that's going to bring me right in, which ultimately is what happened.
Well, and you came home with the second place. I got to say, that's pretty good. Anybody you want to thank for the run here tonight?
Well, I want to thank all the guys racing around me. It's very clean. I'm trying to remember who I passed in turn 1 for third, and that was just very clean on his part. Maybe Trey Davis, I'm not sure. Can't remember who it was, but whoever you are, I'll look at the replay. I appreciate it. So with this being the last race of this season, all my thanks go out to the competitors who make this fun. And I'll tell you, I'm just so pleased with how much cleaner, the group as a whole has gotten over this series. It's made it so much more fun to drive, and I really appreciate that.
Well, we appreciate you putting on a good show for us here today, Keith. That was your second place finisher here today, Keith Morgan. Joe?
And now we have unofficially our champion, Ben Leung, and I believe that Taylor has caught up with him.
I certainly have been a very strong performance coming home in third position in this race. Talk to us, though, what happened towards the end. We noticed a little bit of damage to the nose of that Porsche.
Well, I sustained some damage when I guess Mark in front of me spun out of the last turn, and I think my front corner hit him. So yeah, the car was pretty much drove the back half of the race with some damage to the car, so it wasn't as quick as I hope it was gonna be.
Well, we're waiting for confirmation right now, Ben, but by the looks of things, you will be our sports class champion for Series 7. Tell us about the hard work and dedication that this series has provided for you, as well as the fun that you've had competing with these Porsches at some of the world's greatest racetracks.
Well, that would be a surprise to me because I really didn't think I would be in the championship, lead in this coming into this race. We had no idea where we are after the last race, but Series 7 has been fun. This is my second series with PCA. I did Series 6 last year and Series 7 this year. It's a lot of work. We put in probably 6-7 hours easy, just lapping and doing practices every week. And the EDs are great. I mean, the same group of people running them, and it's been a lot of fun. PCA has been great, and I really enjoyed the season.
Well, before we let you go, anyone you would like to say thank you to?
I just want to thank all the sponsor, Hagerty and Pirelli and PCA for putting this on, and all you guys just doing the broadcast. It's great to have friends watch this, and all my buddies in the Upper Canada region, all competing in sim, and it's been great.
That is Ben Leung coming home in third position, as well as our provisional Series 7 sports champion. Joe?
That's going to round out our interviews, but the racing is not done this week. We'll see you next time at Interlagos for the club and pro classes. It all kicks off at 9 p.m. Eastern on Friday, November 19th, live here on Podium Esports. It's the last race of the series, and that is going to be fun to watch to see those decided. Thank you so much to our sponsor, title sponsor, Hagerty, as well as the series sponsors, Z1 Dashboard and Pirelli. A big thank you to the steering committee at PCA Sim Racing, and a huge thanks to our team tonight, EJ, Rachel, Taylor, Ryan, Cameron, and Dougie. Also, none of this is possible without those behind the scenes at Podium Esports: James Pike, Gary Sexton, Cisco Scaramuza, and John Theodore. Thank you so much for watching tonight's broadcast of PCA Sim Racing presented by Hagerty. I'm Joe Peak, and I'll see you on the track.